Hello guys, and welcome back to the Doc My Car channel. And today what I'm going to do is replace the Vanos solenoids on my BMW 530i. This is an E60 model with the N52K engine. Now this is a 3-litre inline straight 6 engine, and it's a fairly common issue in BMW with the Vanos solenoids. Now without further ado, let's get into it. But before we do, I would like to give SPR Parts a special thank you for sending me out these two Vanos solenoids so that I can do a video for you guys. So make sure to check them out. I'll leave the details in the description section below, and also please subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Doc My Car channel. I've got a lot of car how-to DIY videos as well. sprparts.co.nz, they store a lot of different car parts, and they are an authorized distributor of free car parts as well. Alright guys, for those of you who would like to jump to the section of the video where I'm already replacing the Vanos solenoids, jump to this section of the video. And for those of you who would like a basic understanding of what a Vanos system does, I'll describe that right now. So basically, Vanos is BMW's version of variable valve timing, or in other vehicles you would know it as VVT or VVTi. Now back in the early 90s, you would have heard of single Vanos, which meant that the Vanos was only on the intake side of the camshaft. Now you hear of double Vanos, which means is the intake and the exhaust side of the camshaft as well. Now this is a straight 6 engine and it's an inline, so the camshaft sprockets are to the front of the vehicle, and in front of that you have got your Vanos system. Now the Vanos solenoid actually goes inwards towards that system, and it uses oil pressure to advance and retard the timing. Now if you have got bad oil changes and you rev the engine too much with bad oil changes as well, then it could potentially clog the Vanos solenoid, and therefore the advance and retardation of the timing will not occur properly, and your car will run really rough, and you will really feel it. Your check engine light might come on, you will experience limp mode, bad gear changes, and also a huge loss of power and fuel efficiency as well. Now you'll also notice that you will have issues starting the car early in the morning, and it'll crank and then it'll start. Your RPM gauge would also go up and down and then up and down, so it'll keep on fluctuating because the car can't decide. The ECU is the one that decides when it needs to advance and retard the timing, and that's why your Vanos solenoids are very important. And especially when you're trying to accelerate from a get-go. Some of you do like the N52 engines because they're quite powerful, and sometimes you want to have a little bit of fun. You will notice that there is a big loss of power because the Vanos solenoid is either mechanically jammed or it's not functioning as it's meant to. Now I am getting a exhaust side of the Vanos solenoid malfunction, so it's mechanically jammed with a 2A87 code. Alright guys, so those are not the only code that you can get. I will list all these codes that you could potentially get for your Vanos solenoid. Alright guys, so now before you start on replacing the Vanos solenoids, make sure that the vehicle's engine is stone cold, and I would also recommend that you do leave it for approximately 1 day for the engine to completely cool and for most of the oil to drain down to the crankcase so that no oil comes out spewing. Now before you also start this job, make sure that you do scan the codes and see what codes you're getting. Now sometimes the oil filter can also cause problems because there's a little basket in there which can drop and fall in, causing some low oil pressure, and it can also give some fault codes which are not present, so check that one out. Alright guys, and the other thing I would recommend that you do check before actually attempting this one is to check your Vanos check valves, which is located right down here on the exhaust side. Now the check valves is basically a Vanos screen filter which can get clogged up over time, especially with bad oil changes or even on higher mileage vehicles. Now if your car's done over 200,000 kilometers, then make sure to check your Vanos check valves as well, which is right down below. You do need to take the front wheel off to get access to that one because it is a little deeper down towards the cylinder head area on the exhaust side. The exhaust side of the Vanos solenoid is the one down at the bottom, and your intake is up in the top. Now because I'm getting the code on the exhaust side, I'm going to replace the exhaust side first. So you can see you've got one 10mm bolt right here, and you've got a pinch clip right here. You need to pinch the clip and then pull it out first. Okay, so that one is now out. That's the connector right there. So we're going to just move the connector to one side first. You've got a 10mm bolt right here. Now I'd recommend that you use a 1/4 inch with a deep socket, but because I don't have one at the moment, what I'm going to do is a 1/2 inch with a longer socket. I'm going to undo this 10mm bolt right here. And the bolt is not tight at all. And then you're going to slowly unscrew it. Okay, now you want to make sure that you don't drop the screw. Okay, so that's the screw. You're gonna have to yank it out a bit. Hopefully not too much oil comes out. Make sure that the serpentine belt doesn't get all the oil. Let's see if the gasket came out with it. No, the gasket is still stuck inside. And that's the gasket you want to take out. Alright guys, so at the point in time where you take your old Vanos solenoid out, you want to make sure you've got this gasket right here that comes out with it, and this gasket as well. So what you're going to do is, this is exactly how it should look when your Vanos solenoid comes out. Alright guys, so this is your OEM part number. You want to make sure that it does fit your vehicle, and that's your free part number right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the new Vanos solenoid. And you want to make sure that your new Vanos solenoid looks similar. So as you can see, the parts look very much similar. And it's got the new gasket on it as well. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of oil and then lube it around here so that it does go in quite easily. You're going to make sure you align it correctly to the hole. Okay. And then you're going to take this cloth out, and then you're going to push it in. Alright guys, so the one thing I did find is that the gasket in here is very tight, so it's really hard to get the gasket to push in all the way. So what I did was I took my screw and I guided it in, and then I screwed it in, guided it in, and then I took the screw out again just to make sure that it's properly fed in. And I can see it looks to be fine. Now we're going to put our 10mm screw back in. Okay, so now there's no specific Newton meters that you need to torque it down to. However, if you are quite pedantic with that, no more than 10 Newton meters. Okay, you just need enough to hold the oil pressure in, and then one looks all right. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take a cable and just give the cable a bit of a wipe down. Going to wipe your cable down right here. Okay, and then you're going to plug it back in. You want to push down on this clip. You're going to push down on the clip, and then we're going to push it in while pushing down on the clip until it clips in. Okay, and that should do it. Alright guys, I hope that video was useful and informative. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, the Dogmare Car channel. Also, please turn on your notification bells so that you will receive a notification whenever I post a car video. I do a lot of car how-to DIY videos. And also, please check out sprparts.co.nz. I will leave their details in the description section below. And I'll see you in the next one.